Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name's Shadowwraith, and today I'm going to be talking about Death Guard, and more specifically, Harbingers. Now, as you know, if you are a long-time subscriber of my channel, you know I absolutely love Poxwalkers, and I love Typhus. Typhus is fantastic. Okay, lore-wise, everything. He's even been buffed in this, so that's terrifying. So, why am I talking about Harbingers? Well, I wanted to challenge myself, see if I can make Harbingers competitive. Of course, there are obvious choices of what is extremely competitive in this codex. Glooming Bloat, so Mortarian's Anvil, their contagion ability is fantastic. Okay, and it's one I use most regularly. But I wanted to play as the Harbingers. So if you wanted to do the same, this is the video for you. Now, let's quickly go over the Harbingers. We got our stratagem, which is the Wrathful Dead. You choose this in the fight phase when a Harbinger's Poxwalker unit is selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time the model in that unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. So you got rerolls to hit now without having the core keyword, because that's the biggest downside to Poxwalkers in this book, and it hurts my soul a little bit. They're not core, which is crazy for me, because I mean, you've got like Dreadnoughts that are core, but not our Poxwalkers. On top of that, we're limited to how many Poxwalkers we can bring. So you need to bring the Bubonic Astartes core infantry for each Death Guard Plague Follower unit. So you need, if you've got 5 units of Plague Marines, you can bring 5 units of Poxwalkers. If you have 4 units of Plague Marines, you cannot bring 5 units of Poxwalkers. So on and so forth. And basically, the both types of Terminators and Plague Marines are the Astartes core infantry. So, back to the Plague Company Harbingers. So we've got the Warlord trait Shamble Rot. This is Warlord has the following ability, which is a contagion called Shamble Rot. While an enemy unit, excluding vehicle units, is within contagion range of this unit at the start of your opponent's move phase, roll a d6, subtracting 1 if that enemy unit has the character keyword. On the 4+, the enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. On a 6, it's d3 mortal wounds. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay, so it just says while an enemy unit is within contagion range. Yeah, so I'm guessing it affects multiple. Which, if I'm wrong, let me know, but that's where I'm going. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, because this list is all about mortal wounds, just so you know. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Trust me, it's good. And then we've got the Relic. Infected Remains, Harbinger model only. Once per battle at the end of movement phase, you can select 1 objective marker within 3 inches of the bearer. Whilst the bearer is on the battlefield, that objective marker has the Contagions of Nurgle ability and is considered to have all the same contagions abilities as the bearer has, which is fantastic. So, if you do have Shamble Rot as a contagion ability, you can then suddenly start dealing wounds from that objective as well, which it makes it scary. You basically can poison an objective. So if an enemy does take it, they can start taking mortal wounds every turn because of it. But not only that, you also have somewhere that always has the -1 toughness aura as well, which is fantastic. Especially if you deep strike your, say, your Lord of Contagion down, who is your Warlord, or Typhus down, who will be your Warlord, in with some Deshard Terminators, and infect one of the objectives in your enemy's line. Your gun line then, if you've got a bunch of shooting, can shoot anything near that objective that is suffering -1 to their toughness. Very, very good, very good. Now, let's have a quick look at Typhus, okay? So Typhus, absolutely fantastic, an absolute beast of a unit. 165 points for this bad boy, 9 power if you play by power. I don't, because I have never gone to an event where they use power, but sure, you can use it. He's movement 5, so he's gone up in movement, which is fantastic. Weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+, both fantastic, what you'd expect. He's strength 4, toughness 5, 6 wounds, 6 attacks, which is phenomenal. Leadership 9, 2+ save, of course. He's got his Mastercrafted Man Reaper, so you've got 2 profiles to choose from when you select to attack with this weapon. You can have a Cleave, which is your heavy strike against high armor or multiple wound targets. That is at +3 strength, so your strength 7, with Typhus. It's -3, 3 damage. It's a plague weapon, so rerolling 1s to wound, but you subtract 1 from the hit roll, so you'll be hitting on 3s with Typhus. But of course, you'll be wounding most marine equivalents at toughness 4 on 2s, because there'll be -1 toughness near you. Awesome, so you're rerolling 1s to wound as well. Then you've got Scythe. I love this option. It's really strong. It's +1 strength, so you are now strength 5, strength 6. But you make 2 hit rolls instead of 1. So those 6 attacks are now 12 attacks, and it's all resolved at -1 AP, 1 damage. He's of course got Disgusting Resilient, which is the -1 to damage, to a minimum of 1, mind you. He's got Contagions of Nurgle, Teleporting Strike, so he can deep strike in. He's got Disease Terminator Armor, which is Cataphractii Armor. Don't care what they call it now. It's got a 4+ invulnerable save. He's got Host of the Destroyer Hive. In your command phase, you can select 1 enemy unit within 6 of this model and roll a d6 on a 2+. That unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. Fantastic. Master of the Dead, who walk. It's an aura. While friendly Poxwalker units are within 6 of this model, each time this model makes an attack, add 1 to the strength of that attack. So Poxwalkers go up to strength 4. Lord of the Death Guard. You get to reroll 1s for hit rolls for core units, so that's only your Plague Marines and your 2 Terminator types. Herald of Nurgle. This model can be included in any Death Guard detachment without preventing the other units from carrying a Plague Company Contagion. This model may only carry a Plague Company Contagion if it's the Harbingers, so you can only have Shamble Rock. That's it. So, pretty spicy character all round. He's a Psyker, manifests 2 psychic powers in your psychic phase, and attempt to deny 1. He knows Smite and 2 from the Contagion discipline. Now let's move on to Poxwalkers really quick. So, Poxwalkers, absolute cheapest chips. 5 points a model, 2 power each. They're pretty rubbish, as you would imagine. They're movement 4, weapon skill 4+, which is a buff. They don't have a ballistic skill because they don't shoot anything. They're strength 3, toughness 4, 1 wound, 2 attacks each, leadership 4, but they don't worry about leadership. And they've got 7+ save. Sounds terrible, right? Yeah. They've got improvised weapons, which is strength user, so strength 3, no AP, 1 damage. They've got Contagion and Nurgle, which is fantastic, and they've got Objective Secured, which makes them very, very good. Curse of the Poxwalker. Each time a melee attack is made by a model in this unit, if an enemy model is destroyed, that isn't a vehicle or a monster, one of the unit's destroyed models is added back with 1 wound remaining. Models added back in this unit can be set up within engagement range of enemy units that are already within engagement range of this unit. So, they turn people to Poxwalkers like they used to. And it's a buff because before it was only infantry models. Now we can do it to bikers. Okay? So, yeah, that's really good. Mindless Horde. They can't perform actions excluding Spread the Sickness action, which I'll cover in a minute. That's pretty good. And the rest is about Crusade, which I don't care about. Fodder. Each time a morale test is taken for this unit, it's automatically passed because they don't care. They're mindless. An Unending Horde. Each time a model in this unit would lose a wound, roll a d6. On a 6, that wound is not lost. So they got a rubbish Disgusting Resilient like it used to be. They've still got Disgusting Resilience. So, no, they don't. They don't even have that. Wow. They've got their own 6+ save. Sound pretty terrible, right? Yeah, I agree. Big enough. But they can still be fantastic. Now, let's look at Contagion Discipline. So, with Poxwalkers, of course, you're going to be wanting to give them Putrescent Vitality to make them Strength 5, Toughness 5. Okay? They've got Contagion of Nurgle ability. So, you can drop people's Toughness by 1. So, all these nice new shiny Marines that are all Toughness 5, these Necrons that are Toughness 5, well, now you're going to be wounding them on 3s with Poxwalkers, or 4s. Okay? Well, it'll be 3s. Okay? If it's Toughness 6, then you'll be wounding them on 4s. And so on and so forth. It's fantastic. And plus, the Toughness 5 Poxwalkers are very hard to shift, especially if you chuck Miasma of Pestilence on them. Okay? So basically what this does is it subtracts 1 from all the attack's hit rolls, and that's combat and shooting. So, -1 to hit at Toughness 5 is very scary. You can also use some stratagems to buff them. You've got the Dead Walk again. So, you select 1 Poxwalker unit from your army and roll 7 dice, d6s obviously. For each 3+, you replace a model with 1 rune remaining. But yeah, you can only use it once per battle for each unit. So you can watch an enemy try and destroy your 20 blob of Poxwalkers, who are -1 to hit, toughness 5, okay? And they're down to, they take half of them out, you roll 7 dice, and you could potentially get 7 back. That can be disheartening for people, definitely. You can also give them re-rolling 1s to wound, so if you know you're going to be charging that big blob of Lich Guard with your big blob of Poxwalkers, you can pop off a few shots with a neighbouring Plague Marine unit and stick Sickly Corrosion on them. And basically what that does is use it in the fight phase or shooting phase with a Death Guard model in your army. It has to be a plague weapon, so you're most likely going to be using it with spewers or something as you encroach upon your enemy. If you score a hit against that enemy unit, until the end of the turn, each attack roll made by a Death Guard model against that unit re-rolls wound rolls of 1. So that's quite nice. You can also stick Flash Outbreak on them, so you can give them the Shamble Rot if you really want for 2 CP, if you think you can do some mortal wounds. But yeah, that's an option. But the main one is Mutant Strain. 1 CP. Use a stratagem in the fight phase when a Poxwalker unit in your army is selected to fight until the end of the phase. Each time an attack is made by a model in that unit, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any normal damage. Unmodified 1 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the Poxwalker unit. Yeah, so if you've got a blob of 20 of them, that's 40 attacks. You can also use the stratagem from the Harbingers to allow them to re-roll failed hit rolls. And any 6s do mortal wounds. Okay, Shadow Wraith, where are you going with this? Well, where am I going with this? We have got some pretty scary targets on the battlefield nowadays. Okay, Necrons come to mind, and of course, Dark Angels. Why are Dark Angels so scary? Because they've got the Inner Circle, they've got transhuman physiology, things like that. Okay. Necrons, obviously, the Nightbringers, a massive, scary unit that can only take up to 3 points of damage per phase. This is where it gets interesting, okay? Because the way around both of these is mortal wounds. And Death Guard have potential to chuck out lots and lots of mortal wounds. It's terrifying. Now, this is just a small kind of like macro view, or micro view, apologies, on the army you'll be bringing, but you want Typhus, okay? You're going to want the Foul Blightspawn, you're going to want a Malignant Plaguecaster, and probably a Death Guard Demon Prince just for fun, which, yes, we can now bring in the same detachment. You're going to need Plague Marines and Bubonic Astartes in general, so your pick on them. I love the Terminators, Plague Marines are awesome as well, so it's your choice. To then open up the slots to bring in your Poxwalkers. So, straight away, in the movement phase, you've got Shamble Rot, which can be triggered. You can also pass it on to other units if you need to. To then roll a d6 on a 4+, you can do a mortal wound. 1 mortal wound. It's still really, really strong. To each unit, okay? As far as I'm reading it, it's each unit because it's contagion, it's an aura, all that good stuff. So if Typhus is near a bunch of Dark Angels, each one of those units are probably going to take a mortal wound. 50-50 chance. Some of them might take D3 mortal wounds, which could kill one of their Terminators, or Bikers, or whatever. On top of that, you've got his host of the Destroyer Hive, which is activated in the command phase. So it's a different phase, okay? And it's on the 2+, they suffer D3 mortal wounds. So him around, if you roll a 4+ and a 2+, minimum is D3 plus 1 mortal wounds, maximum is 2D3 mortal wounds. You can stick out with Typhus. Now, you've got the Malignant Plaguecaster. If you roll a 7 or higher to cast Psychic Power, the closest enemy unit within 12 inches takes a mortal wound. On top of that, he can also cast Smite, okay, which of course we know what Smite does. You can also bring Plague Wind, which basically you roll a dice for each enemy model in a unit, and on a 6, they take a mortal wound. If you roll 9 or higher when you cast the Psychic test, you instead wound them on a 5+. A mortal wound. You've also got Curse of the Leper, which is pretty good. You roll 7d6, and each roll that exceeds the enemy's toughness characteristic suffers 1 mortal wound. Less useful because most of them are looking at toughness 5 or toughness 4. So, you know, you've got 1 in 3 chance of wounding. You've got the Revolting Stench Vats, which is fantastic. Basically, it's what the Foul Blightspawn used to do. So whilst enemy units within 6 inches of the bearer that charge, they don't get the fight first, and never count as making a charge, irrespective of any abilities that they may have. So they don't get always fight first or anything like that. So if they charge your Poxwalkers, guess what? The way it works, you get to pick the unit first. So your Poxwalkers will go first. So I've shown 3 different phases where you can do mortal wounds. The phases are important for the Nightbringer. So that's 3 different phases that aren't including the shooting phase or the combat phase. Obviously, you can win the Nightbringer normally. You don't need to do mortal wounds. But for things that have the transhuman physiology, mortal wounds, just ignore that. So you have 3 phases before you even fight them to then start doing damage onto them. Completely going over all their buffs, all their 3-up invuns, never wounding anything better than a 4+, all that kind of horrible shenanigans you are ignoring. Then we've got into combat, where you get your Poxwalkers in. You can have them re-rolling, so you can have 40 of them re-rolling to hit. You can make them strength 5 if you really want to, if you think it will help. If they're toughness 5, it's definitely worth it. But they'll be toughness 4 anyway nearby. Yeah, it's not... it's okay. It's good for the toughness, mainly. But, yeah, 40 attacks, hitting on 4s, re-rolling. Any 6s do mortal wounds. Sure, you'll take damage in return, but if you just think about the amount of mortal wounds you can chuck out in one combat phase, in one turn, from one unit of Poxwalkers and some psychic powers, it's absolutely ridiculous. The reason I said bring a Demon Prince is because Demon Princes are fantastic, okay? If you pay for an extra Warlord trait, you can stick Hulk in Physique, so he's got an extra wound, can't be wounded on a 4+, and he becomes an absolute unit. Give him the Sufferating plate, so he's got 2-up save and all that good stuff. Yeah, he's not going to die. The rest of the list is up to you, okay? Plague Burst Callers are fantastic for some long-range support, dealing damage in the shooting phase, because the way you want to play this game now is you want to be able to do damage in all of the phases, and Death Guard can do damage in all the phases, and some more on top of that. Perfect. So, if you like the video, do hit the like button, and if you think I missed anything, or if you think I'm wrong, do let me know in the comment section down below, or join my Discord server, and have a real discussion about it with me. And do consider subscribing, especially if you're feeling saintly today, because we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. It is phenomenal. Please help this channel grow to that goal. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Hello again. Just a quick one from me. If you want to support the channel and want to help me bring out bigger and better content for you guys, then do consider checking out my Patreon page. The link is in the description down below, and you'll be helping out towards bringing battle reports onto the channel, along with more tactic videos and competitive talks. And you can even get a sexy mug or an even sexier t-shirt. Thank you, and goodbye.